This conference will now be recorded.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Saurabh. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. All are there, so good to start.
Yeah, good evening.
So, how things are going on, guys? All good? Docker practice all? So today we will start about the first class of Kubernetes. So let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. So I think some other guys will about to join. So today
Saurabh,
we
like
will.
hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Actually, I've got a small question on the Vagrant thing. So, see, when I'm creating new instance, when I'm doing a clone of that, right? So the clones are having the same IP address as the earlier one, actually. So, but for this, I can use the same net plan option, or is there any other way?
Yeah. Same net plan. Nothing. No, same thing.
Okay. Because when I clone and I see, I get the same IP address as the
Yeah,
earlier one.
same thing yesterday also when I created 3 clone IP. If you watch
Mm.
those yesterday video,
Okay.
um, even I have also created clone. So when you do clone, you will get the same existing IP only. So you just need to be change the IP and host name and put it in etc host file.
Okay, fine. Got it.
Sort of in the desktop version of Ubuntu 18, there is no actually I couldn't find that file under the net plan.
Yeah, that will be not there if you are in desktop version. This is only the server version. Because as an industry, if you wanted to configure CLI mode, right, you will get that file. For desktop will be different one, which is called etc/network/interface.
Okay.
Okay, so let's we will start the today's class, which is your the Kubernetes. So today is our the first class of the Kubernetes. So we will try to understand. You have learned last a couple of three to four class you have learned installation part, deploying a container, managing multiple container. The problem you face only the Docker, which I can create 100 container, but to orchestrate my 100 container, or if you want to combine multiple worker node, or if I want to talk to my container to multiple container, those will be by default, which is not available Docker. So you need a cluster. So the cluster yesterday we have discussed Docker Swarm, which is easy learn, which is setup is very easy, right? So things is going good, but for advanced level of containerized tool or orchestration tool, that is nothing but guys Kubernetes. So Kubernetes also same, it's completely orchestration tool. One second. So Kubernetes also same, you will get a cluster, and once you create a cluster in the Kubernetes cluster, then you will have a option to deploy the container. So and how to deploy multiple container. But in the Kubernetes, the keyword will be different. When you deploy the application, we need to you have to inform called pod. So we will discuss you what is a pod. There are different kind of the components are available in the Kubernetes, right? And installation part is completely the different installation part. And next will be the Kubernetes has a lot of advantages will be there. There are a lot of components are available. Architecture will be completely the different. Networking part also completely different. So which will be high level things will be there. So we will go through that each and everything. So anybody, before I'm starting Kubernetes, anybody know what is a Kubernetes, and anyone has used a Kubernetes platform before?
Yes, sir.
No?
I've been working on Kubernetes.
Oh, great, Saib Khan, great. So which one you comfortable? Are your Docker Swarm is good or Kubernetes is good?
Kubernetes we use in production actually. Kubernetes.
Yeah. So Kubernetes is the product which will be enterprise and which will be used in production. So the production means what, guys? In Kubernetes, many customer application will be onboarding in the production. That means that is go live. So a lot of transaction will be happening in the Kubernetes application, like whichever you're doing payment or any banks, if you do like HDFC Bank, Indox Bank, or ICICI Bank, whatever the transactions are happening, net banking. In our office, net banking is moving in offensive. This is a big one Australia bank, which is we are just moving in the net banking. We are moving in the Kubernetes platform. So this is good things, lot of benefit, and too many things you will get automated. The lot of automation will be there because there will be no downtime one after you deploy a Kubernetes cluster. So if I just wanted to share my screen, let me share my screen. Hopefully you're able to see my screen. One second, again I got same problem. So I have same problem yesterday problem. So Sojana, can you please enable again sharing screen? Ali, can you please make me presenter?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Just a second. Sir, your username is, just a second. I'll find your username. Ah, yes, I got it.
So if I share my screen, it's
Sir, you are
you can
presenter
see.
right now.
Okay.
Please check it.
So we can see a notepad actually.
Yeah, Notepad is happening, but if I share actual desktop, I'm getting shares screen sharing now is paused. Another window is on top of setup here. Please move the window resume. Second, I'll just do again share screen. Ali, again, can you do this option? Sharing will be disabled for me.
Okay, I will check it, sir. Yes.
Or do I need to relogging again?
Sir, you are right now. You are presenter, sir. You are presenter.
Hello. Is anybody speaking?
We can hear you, I guess. The others also, they can hear you.
Again, presenter. So today here, guys, the network problem is there. So since morning there is no power in beat game. I think they're doing changes. I have no idea. So I'll try my best.
Please check, sir.
No, that
Uh,
not able to share.
just a second again, I will check. Okay. Yes, sir, you are. You are presenter right now. If you want, I can make you organizer.
Can
and
you,
check yourself.
organizer, can you do?
Yes. Now you are organizer right now. Please check.
If you want, we can try with the other like Zoom or WebEx.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, you can hear you? Okay, okay, fine. Ali, give me access again.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm checking right
So tomorrow I will start the meeting so that I should have full access.
now. Sir, presenter or organizer?
Give me anything, whichever comfortable, which you have a full access.
This is your
But
organizer. You are organizer right now. You have full access. Yes. Your
is it
page
able to
is
access now?
yes, your page is actually watchable right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so okay, let me. I can now you can able to see my screen. So this is today we will try to understand, try to discuss some the basic things about the Kubernetes. So before we started the installation part, the deployment part, upgrade, patching, and deployment. So first you try to understand the basic things about the Kubernetes, right? So this is a completely the Kubernetes for beginner. So we will go through the very basics. Now everybody has a good experience with the container part, so it will be good now right now. So if I just wanted to, okay, now if anybody asks you question what is the Kubernetes, so the shortcut we can say Kubernetes nothing but K8s. So why is it K8s? Because if you Kubernetes refer to K8s, so or you can say K8s is nothing but because there are 8 character between K and S. So if you just count over here K to S, in between there are 8 character will be there. So this is what you can say Kubernetes we can call K8s. Okay, so this journey is a completely we will talk about the Kubernetes, which will be very nice journey, guys. A lot of things you will get this particular journey, and in this journey you will see all the installation part, deployment part, upgrade, patching, lot of application deployment, right? Various kind of installation, or there are minikube installation, or you can say like yesterday we have created multi node installations. Those kind of installation you will get it from this class. And also along with we will also go through the CK exam question. So those if you practice those questions with answer, you can also certify from yourself as a Kubernetes administrator.
Sir, excuse me, are
So
we going to start the exam practice from tomorrow?
no, tomorrow I don't think so. We are good to start tomorrow. But tomorrow, if you all are good tomorrow, can we continue our Kubernetes class as well? If you all are free tomorrow, same time, can we have a class?
Yeah,
Yeah, for me it's fine.
for me also
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah. So if everybody is
If
agree,
it is, if we have time, we can start morning. Time.
yes. So you decide with your time. So your time is there till 2 hours. So if all are agree, so we will go with one time. If all agree with one specific time, then we will also discuss Saturday instead of exam class. We will have
Yeah, if we can
some
start morning
you
and
can discuss
morning
anything.
and we
So
can
just tell
close,
me
right? That is
your time so that we
fine.
can start. Okay, fine. So we will focus, guys, this part. And so
And one thing, Saurabh, how about the exam? Would we able to cover that exam stuff as well going
exam
forward?
there
Because
is
tomorrow we are
the,
skipping it, right?
no, there is no exam question from tomorrow, because since we didn't start our the Kubernetes class only. If I discuss question, you may not be understand. So the question will be
So
again
is there
next
is
weekend Saturday.
any
Next Saturday we can go. Okay, but during
okay?
during the
So
class, during the yeah, go ahead.
are there any questions which is related to Dockers and all the stuff
There is
in the
there is
question?
no there is no questions related for Docker. Okay, Docker will be a separate thing,
Okay.
but Docker knowledge if you have, you have a good to start with the Kubernetes class. You will not have a confuse. Now you have learned
Okay.
Kubernetes Docker and you understand Docker, what is the problem. I familiarize a container, I know how to create Docker images. Can I deploy it one containerized application? I feel that I deploy it, but if my application goes down, who is bring up my application? How can I interact with external network, internal network, right? So a lot of things you will get it from this Kubernetes platform. Okay,
Santosh,
Okay.
will
so
there be any? Sorry.
yeah,
So will there be any questions related to Kubernetes installation?
yes, there is a question for in your exam question for related for installation. There is one question you will get for installation of your cluster. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's easy, guys. Don't worry. So your journey is starting from
Installation and
2 hours.
architecture also, I guess, right?
Yeah, installation will be there, different kind of deployments, so many things will be there. So in your exam you will get a 24 questions. You will get 24 question means 24 scenario based question, which will be date in the day-to-day operation task, right? In your if you are working with Kubernetes platform, you might be required to troubleshoot your cluster. You have required a experience for installation of the cluster, right? You should have a good experience with various type of deployment, application deployment, troubleshooting, right? So those things, everything will comes in your exam. So if you practice those things also, you will get a confidence. So you'll say, yes, I have experience with the Kubernetes. And if anybody asks you what kind of task you're doing, so you just explain, I know installation, I know upgrade, I know different kind of installation, giving a support, all things, right? Those things will comes under your Kubernetes exam. Okay, so first our objective, so this is just, it's not kind of fully objective. So there are a lot of things will be there. So in this objective, we will go to very 2 or 3 days class will be very basic things. So we will talk about overview of Kubernetes architecture, container orchestration, right? And we will have some kind of demo will be there, how to set up a Kubernetes cluster. And also we have kind of concept like how to deploy the application, making a replica and deployment service, lot of things will be there. And the networking of Kubernetes and how to write a small definition file using YAML format, right? If you want to manage Kubernetes, or if you are managing a Docker platform, you are using Docker command. But in the to managing a Kubernetes, you need to use a kubectl command, which is used to kube control, which use this command to deploy the application, use this command to connect to cluster, use this command to create, to operate everything. Same thing in the last 3 days class, you learn Docker, right? In the Docker, managing everything, whatever you are doing Docker, start with each command, start with the Docker. Same thing Kubernetes, each command will be start with kubectl or the pen. So you will see so many things. You will say we will learn one by one, step by step we will learn, don't worry. So first thing guys, if I ask question what is the Kubernetes, so very simple, I can say Kubernetes, what exactly you want to learn in this. You learn what is Kubernetes, why required container orchestration engine, and for container orchestration, why do we need a Kubernetes? Why not some other container orchestration, right? There are a lot of difference we will see. So if I ask question what is a Kubernetes, I can say Kubernetes is open source. Kubernetes is a platform which is managing our container platform, and I can say Kubernetes is a container management orchestration tool. Orchestration means what guys? Who can manage my container platform? If I create 1,000 container, who is managing my 1,000 container, right? This is the platform will give you. This platform will enable you to automate your application and automate your upgrade. Customer application will be upgrade, platform will be upgrade, lot of advantages you will get, everything, and every task you can do it through without downtime, right? So but right now this will be initially will be like Kubernetes, which is developed by Google, but right now donated by CNCF, and which I can say this is completely open source. And this will be written, this language written will be Go language. They are using Go language, returning with the Go language. And also I can call Kubernetes is a K8s. I can say Kubernetes is a K8s. So why K8s also I have explained you, right? So why should I go to Kubernetes? Why not other platform? Now, first of all, you have a container management tool. So to manage our container, we required one platform. So basically managing container means what guys? Your application deployment will be automation, right? You will get one platform. The platform will enable you lot of security, lot of advantages, lot of automation will be there, right? So because of that, in the Kubernetes, the customers are before, when they want to release any new application, they used to take minimum 3 to 4 months. But in this is the platform, every week they are releasing the new version, right? Because this is the platform will enable you without downtime. And we will see you demo everything, whatever I told you the definition, everything I will give you the proof, right? Anything you wanted to do, there will be no downtime. Got the point? So if I ask you a question like managing our container platform means managing nothing but what I can deploy, I can schedule my application, or I can scaling my application, and load balancing will be there. Yes or no? So at a time, if I say uh, Saturday and Sunday my application hit will come more. So if my utilization will be high, please create n number of application, n number of port, or that will be automatically, those features will be available enabled in the Kubernetes platform. And basically this platform is nothing but Docker. It's like Docker, right? So application will be available the platform like Docker, because anyhow on the Kubernetes platform we need to install a Docker. So Docker will be help you to create a container. Got the point? So the lot of benefit will be there in the Kubernetes. So if I say that what is the Kubernetes, so Kubernetes is going platform will help you to create a container. So if you create a container in Kubernetes platform, Kubernetes will do making a orchestration. That means this Kubernetes will managing your container. Managing means what? If my container goes down, he will bring up. If you want to talk to multiple container, he will give you support. If you want to upgrade your application, Kubernetes will give you platform, right? So any kind of automation things you wanted to do, Kubernetes has all kind of features enabled in Kubernetes. And if you want to talk to external database, you have option to do that one. That is what this platform, I can say shortcut container plus orchestration. So why required orchestration? Because for example, I have a 4 node. So I have a 1, 2, 3, 4 worker nodes there, right? Each worker node you have deploy multiple application. So to combine all 4 nodes together, and no pod 1 can be talked to third node of the pod, right? This pod can be talked to any one of the application. This is orchestration tool is required, which will be nothing but to managing our container platform, right? So instead of deploy a container in single node, you can deploy your container in multiple node. If you have multiple node, what benefit you will get? If one node goes down, no worry, still I have a option to access my application with different node, right? This is not a load balancer highly available. So if anybody customer will come to my platform, I will say that there will be no downtime, and 99.9 percentage I will give you, your application will be up and running. There is no other platform will make you guarantee for 100 percentage, right? But this is the platform at least make sure 99 percentage. I can make sure your application will be up and running. I will not ask you anytime give me downtime. So that is nothing but Kubernetes platform, OpenShift platform will give you. This is the platform will enable you for security, for highly available load balancer, automation deployment, right? Those so many things will be available in Kubernetes. So as you know, guys, you know how to create a container, and yeah. So to create a container you required a one container engine, which is nothing but our Docker, right? But if you have deploy a container in orchestration tool, what are the benefit you will get? Automated deployment, scaling, managing on containerized application on group of server. So that is nothing but orchestration. So there are number of management orchestration tools are available. Kubernetes has one of the product which is comes from Google, and Docker Swarm is which is comes from Docker, and Apache Mesos which come from Apache, right? So if I give a little difference between Kubernetes advantage, before I'll go to the Kubernetes, I can give a difference between Docker and Kubernetes. So if I ask the Docker and Kubernetes different, so the main features of our the Kubernetes platform, guys, Kubernetes will enabling you the platform which you can install and cluster. You have a graphical access, you have highly available auto scaling will be there,
No, excuse
rolling
me. This
update, and
the Docker swarm. There is no GUI. Is not true. There is a GUI is already there. This is called the universe
but
control plane. Docker swarm. the
Yes,
enterprise period of the Docker Swarm, there is a GUI is there.
yes, but if you go to enterprise, that will be there. But if you go to open source, there will be no GUI.
Okay.
Okay, so this is enterprise. I'm talking enterprise. So if I talking about guys Kubernetes and Docker, so I can tell Kubernetes installation will be little complicated, but once your installation is done, once your setup is done, cluster is very strong. Very strong is nothing but you may not be get any kind of downtime if you wanted to do any changes in your cluster, right? Because your application will be hosted in multiple workload. And the Kubernetes also will give you graphical user interface, and which you can manage your application, and through efficiently you can manage your application. Lot of tools will be available in the graphical, which will give you guys GUI based dashboard, right? And which will be by default, which is not enabled Docker Swarm. If you want to enable, then you need to purchase enterprise version, and the license version required to enable graphical user interface in Docker Swarm. And that Docker Kubernetes dashboard, which will be completely free, and you can customize you have option to customize your own graphical user interface dashboard. So same thing, this Kubernetes platform will highly scalable and scale anytime you can scale up and scale down your application, right? And there is one good thing is Kubernetes, which is called auto scaling. So you guys are asking so many times, is it possible to auto scaling? Yes, you can do auto scaling automatically in Kubernetes platform. But you can't do auto scaling, cannot be do possible Docker Swarm. You have to do manually. Okay. And Kubernetes can be, when I suppose today you have deployed one Nginx version called 1.6 version you have deployed, and if you feel customer will say, hey, 1.6 version of Nginx which is not working for me, could you please roll back, go back to older version? That can be do automatically, right? So you don't need to do not require downtime, but you can the same things you can do with rolling update, but not automatic rolling back. You have to manually change. That means manual change means your application will be goes down, but that can be do automatically without downtime of your application. That features will be enabled in the Kubernetes. Right. So, and by default Kubernetes has monitoring tools will be, logging and monitoring tools will be there, but Docker also monitoring tools will be there, but you have to purchase the license. That is third party tools you need to install. But by default Kubernetes has own open source monitoring tools are available, which you don't need. This platform will give you completely open source. Even the monitoring things also you can install. But sometime if you need some extra kind of thing, a ticketing tool, yes, that will be required. You take a license. If you go to Splunk, right? So if you like, if my cluster goes down, you want to generate an incident, then you have to integrate with the Kubernetes with Splunk, so that you will get an incident. So everything will be, though, that is the difference between guys the Docker Swarm and Kubernetes.
So yeah, in logging and monitoring, do we have an email like if something goes wrong with the container, do
Yes,
we
you
get an
can
email?
get a email as well. Yeah, that will be
Oh, okay.
by default. You can deploy it. So I will show you that one in the training part, the logging and monitoring tools, which will be very easy to
Okay.
deploy that. So whenever, if any pod goes down, or if my cluster goes down, you will get a SMS, or if your file system full, you will get SMS that, hey, on this node /var file system is full, please take it forward, right? But as an industry, they will send a note, they will not send an email, they will create an incident for that. Okay, they will integrate your Kubernetes to one Splunk tool, so that if any the main components goes down, you will get an incident, right? So this is nothing but get Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. So the difference between, so if I want to now, the main agenda and main things you need to understand, which is called architecture. Yesterday you learned, you have installed Docker Swarm. Architecture is nothing but one required one master, which you can call Docker manager, and you require a group of worker node. The worker node is responsible for deploying customer application under worker node. Got the point? Same thing. Kubernetes also architecture is required. So what is the architecture of the Kubernetes? For example, let us start with single node, right? Today, this is single node. What will happen if I have single node? In the single node, I have installed the Redis database. I have installed the Redis database. Okay. What will happen if this one single node goes down? Then my application goes down. So that means I can tell what is this. This is a machine. I can say this is a virtual machine, or this is the bare metal where Kubernetes is installed. And if the Kubernetes is installed, then you have an option to deploy container in worker node. So if you have one worker node to deploy the customer application, if this node goes down, then you cannot access existing application. So instead of have a single node cluster, then it's required a multi-node. So I will say, okay, let me bring one more node. So let's say I will bring one more node. So I have bring 3 node over here. So when I say 3 node, if I deploy Redis application scaling equal to 3, that means each node will get a one application. Here is one container will be there. Here we will get one container. Here also one container will be there. Now guys, if node 1 goes down or node 2 goes down, no, there is no problem. I have another 2 nodes are available. So as your Kubernetes admin, what is your responsible if any node down in the existing cluster? Your job is to bring up the node, right? That is your job. Got the point? So now,
So one
okay,
question, one quick question.
yeah.
Yeah, so the is how do we, like, can we specify, or in one in node one I need to run two containers, and node two I need to run one container and all those stuff. Can we
Yeah, you can do
specify
that.
that?
Yeah, you can do
Okay,
that. So the next we will, when we discuss our cluster part, you will clear who is doing that one
okay,
backend, who is doing that
okay,
one. Okay. So which job
okay.
is responsible for putting my application in each node? You can do that way as well. Okay. Now guys, the question is, you have 3 work on node, 3 applications running, but
Excuse
uh,
me, Saurabh. I think there was a disconnect, and I lost you on the last screen. Can you just a little bit?
last screen you disconnected, guys.
Yeah.
This is the
I was
first
disconnected. I don't
first
know. Some
this is
voice
the
was not
first
there.
screen. You got this screen?
Yeah, now I see. Now I see this
Okay.
one. So
So
can you explain that?
this one we are just trying to discuss our architecture part, Kubernetes architecture. So when I Kubernetes architecture, before we discuss high level of architecture, let us start with single node. Okay. So if you have a single node, if you deploy any application in the single node, so what is the problem? If this node goes down, then your application also, your customer will not able to access your existing application which is hosted on single node. So overcome this problem single node, then we need a multi node. So that is what we discussed. We have bring another 3 node in the cluster. Okay. So whenever you deploy application, each application will be hosted in each node. So now you can see 3 nodes are there. In 3 nodes, your containers are running. But if any single, the red one, the middle one, node 2 goes down, but still you can able to access your application because your application will be available node 1 and node 3. Got the point? So that is what in the Kubernetes cluster required multiple node. Now you have a question. 3 nodes are there, but who is responsible for combining these 3 nodes? Who is responsible for if node 2 goes down, node 1, node 2, node 1, node 3 will be bring up my application. And whenever I deploy my application, who will make sure that application will be available 3 different node, right? So to managing these 3 worker node, then you require a master. So who can manage my all 3 node? Then you should bring another node which is called special node. I can say this node is nothing but my master node. That means in this time So to combine these three nodes, you require one cluster. So cluster is nothing but which is responsible for combine multiple node and it will talk to each other. So that is required. You need a cluster. That means you need to configure a cluster. So to configure a Kubernetes, so you require a two type of node. One is a master node and one is called worker node. So what is the master node? Master node will be responsible for monitoring your cluster. Master node will only inform this application should go to node 1, this application should go to node 2. Master will be responsible for making a multiple copy of each node, right? And if master will be responsible for monitoring each application, yes or no? So that is comes guys master. So do you understand why do you need a master in Kubernetes cluster? Now if anybody asks a question, can you tell me in the Kubernetes how many types of master node is required? In the Kubernetes there are two types of node. One is master, one is worker node. So I can say worker node. Worker node, what is the job of worker node? To deploy customer application. So who can deploy the customer application? Only master will do. That means if you want to deploy any application, you don't need to log into node 1, node 2, node 3. You need to log into master, deploy a customer application. So master logging one machine, that this master will do everything in your backend for you. Got the point guys, all of you? So that is called master and worker node,
Sorrow,
right?
one question.
Yeah.
Sorrow, yeah. So what happens if that master node goes down?
Yes, I'll tell you. Okay, don't worry. So that is what in the question. So anyhow, guys, every organization, if you have a single cluster, there will be problem. So what will happen? The questions you ask me, if one master if you deploy, so this is just giving one example to you. This setup I can go for a learning environment, but in the production I cannot go for one master. Then I should have a multiple master. Then so to make available master, then I should a three master required. So in one cluster, how many master minimum required? So if you make a highly available your application, so you should have a three master. So in that case, even if one master goes down, still you can able to access your application. But don't worry, in our advanced Kubernetes class, I will explain you multiple cluster design. Okay, this is a single cluster design, which this setup you try to understand now how the architecture will be in the Kubernetes. Now if one, now your question, if one master is goes down, obviously if one master down, entire your cluster also down. So in overcome that problem, you need a three master, so that all three are talking to each other, right? So even if one master goes down, no problem, still I can able to access my application. So that is why guys, you require a three master. That is what, if any application, if onboarding in Kubernetes and production, you should not have a single master, you should have a multi-cluster. That is called three master is a required. Now you
One more,
understand.
sir, one more thing. How many master is there in limitation? How many master node we can add? And
See,
what about the worker
as
node?
as per uh, document, the minimum
Yeah.
you should require three node, at least three master required. Three is enough. Three is a fair enough in a cluster.
And I was reading the document. There was one mention. I think there should be the 5K maximum worker node we can add, right?
I told you
5,000.
three is a minimum. Okay, so if you go
Okay.
for three, that is fine. But if you want that five also, you can go. But
So
maximum should be five. Maximum should be five.
maximum master node only, right? And what about the
Maximum
worker
master
node?
node should be five. I'll tell you that one. How many
Okay.
worker nodes should be part of on your cluster? Don't worry. I'll explain
Okay.
you. Okay. So guys, all of you clear now in the master in Kubernetes architecture, what is the role of master and what is the role of node, right? Why do you need a multiple node? to manage multiple node, I need to bring a master node, right? Now question is one master, so then in that case you should go multi-master, so that if you have multiple master, so that the many customer will come to your platform, because whenever you bring any customer to your platform, they will ask you to, can you show me your architecture diagram, can you tell me how can I guarantee that my application be highly available? So you tell what is the cluster. If you have one master, then I cannot go. Anytime one master goes down, mean then problem. So that is what in production you should go for. Maximum in one cluster 5 master only you can add, not required more than 5 node. Okay, now if you go to our next slide, highly diagram over here. So now if I say Kubernetes architecture, so in the Kubernetes cluster is required a set of either physical machine, virtual machine is a part of your Kubernetes cluster infrastructure. So you can see here infrastructure resource that needed to run your container application. So each machine in a Kubernetes cluster is called a node. So I can say each no, each master anything, each node I can say this is the node, this is the everything will be node. But node again divided by two type of nodes are there. One is called master node, one is called worker node. What is a master node? Master node will be, you can say, control plane to manage your Kubernetes cluster. What is a worker node? To run your container, your containerized application. So basically guys, worker node will be have a, your application will be there. So don't worry about here components are there. Each master has a, there are some important components are available, and which will give you guys all kind of solution. So now you can also ask some question like how come master is talking to worker node, how this talking is happening, how come master is deploying the application. So we will go through very details guys, the next architecture diagram, that is why you can see here our Kubernetes architecture diagram. So I told you to interact with Kubernetes cluster, you require one command, one is called kubectl. That means if you want to interact with the Docker, that means every command will starting with Docker. You want to deploy application, the Docker, you are using Docker command only, start with the Docker only, right? Same thing, if you want to interact with Kubernetes architecture, that means you need a kubectl command. Then I told you guys, Kubernetes will provides you CLI mode and graphical mode. Now, first of all, if I want to log in to my cluster, then I will run a command called kubectl. So command will start with kubectl over here. So whenever I run kubectl first to log into master, first my request will go to where guys? My request will reach to API server. There are multiple components are available in master guys. So please try to understand this component. This is very, very important, right? First thing, you think now your Kubernetes cluster setup is ready right now. What is the next step? I want to deploy the application. Then you need to log into Kubernetes cluster. How can I log in? I can log into Kubernetes CLI. So CLI means you use a kubectl command. And if you see the left hand side, right hand side, you can see I can also log into Kubernetes cluster using graphical mode, right? Graphical mode as well. That means you will get one URL. Hit the, if you give Kubernetes URL, it will ask username password. Whenever you logging first when you log in, right? Your request, who will receive the request guys? Whenever you log into master cluster, first request will come to our API server. Our API server. So what is API server? Shortcut API, I can say guys. This is the service which is responsible for what? To interact with other component. So he will only inform you. API will only inform, hey, this customer want to deploy the application, please deploy it. So he will tell you each and every component. But the first thing is, anyone will come to your cluster, who will receive? API will be receive the request. So I can say API is manage the incoming request, and who will manage our the cluster, right? And I can say this is front-end service who is responsible for receiving from incoming request and get the job. An API server will interact with each and every component or the pen. So if I just go to here definition, you will also see guys the definition will be there. So etcd API server, see. So what is API server? It will master communicate with the rest of the cluster through kube API server. That means whenever you log into the cluster, API will receive your request and proceed your job. What the point? So this is our first API server. What is the next, guys? Next will what? Suppose if anybody want to log into the cluster, API server only will be interact with each and every component. Whatever he going to do, guys, first he will inform to etcd. Next will come etcd. What etcd will do? etcd is a key pair value, which will store all the cluster state information. Suppose XYZ customer will say, hey, I want to deploy one application in Kubernetes cluster. So API will be receive the request from customer, and he will update those information to etcd. etcd, he will inform to etcd, please update my cluster state. This is what cluster state will be there. And how etcd will be updated? Etcd will update key pair value. Key and value will be there, right? Is a database where all the cluster state information will be stored. Okay, fair enough. What is the next now? What controller will do, guys? Controller, what is the job of the controller service? Yes, 1 second, I need to connect my charger. Sorry, I back now. Okay, guys, where I am? 1 second. Okay, this one. So I told you the first thing, any request will come to the cluster. So this is a front end tool which will receive a request from the customer, and whatever request will come from API server, next API server will be informed to etcd to update all the information, right? So controller is a service which is responsible for like managing your cluster, right? So controller will say, controller will monitoring your worker node status. Controller will monitoring your, you can say, brain of your cluster. The Kubernetes brain is nothing cluster controller. So this controller will make sure your application will be made available multiple node, and he will check if your application goes down, automatically he bring up your application. That is job is nothing but, guys, controller. Okay, so you don't worry, slowly you will understand each and every component, because this is our the first Kubernetes class. And When you go for advanced Kubernetes
Voice
class, we will go
is
through each
breaking
and
for
every
me.
component. Is it my voice is breaking?
Yes, sometimes.
No. Sometimes, yes, it's okay, fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so so Kubernetes architecture, guys. So you understand a little bit about API server and your etcd controller will be managing our controller about the cluster. Okay, next, what is the scheduler job will be do, guys? What scheduler will be do now? Next, scheduler will be responsible for deploy the application on worker node. Scheduler will be say any application anyone want to deploy the application, scheduler will be verify, always he will check which node is a fit, which node has a resource, memory, CPU is available, and he will send that application to on that particular node. Got the point? But scheduler will not direct interact with the worker node. So scheduler will inform to API server, yes, this application is a fit to our worker node. So whatever things, whatever received by API server, guys, API server always will be those latest data will be update to our etcd will be there. Got the point? So if anybody asks you a question, can you tell me in Kubernetes master cluster has how many component service are running? So your first question will be in the Kubernetes master cluster. Master is a node, is nothing but my control node, and master has the main four components are available. The first component called API server, which is front end service, which will be interact with each and every component. Okay, next will be etcd. API server will update each and every information and cluster state information stored under etcd, right? Next will be controller service will be there, which is responsible for managing our cluster. So cluster controller will be always will be check, hey, whether you did your application up and running, did you have 4 replica, right? So if you mention 4 replica, always he will try to making 4 replica. If somebody by mistake delete as well, he will bring up your application again, right? So that is nothing a controller job will be do. But somebody asks you question like how come my application will deploy on worker node? So who is doing that job in the backend, guys? That job is doing under scheduler. So scheduler is responsible for deploy the customer application on the worker node. Got the point? Now you can might be asked question how this master will interact with worker node, right? So I told you API server will be always will be interact with each and every node. So same thing, guys. If master want to deploy the application, master will reach to worker node and he will directly contact to your captain of worker node. Who is the captain? The captain is nothing but kubelet. So there is a service is running each and every worker node. That service name is called kubelet. So what is the responsible for kubelet? So kubelet will be get instruction from API server, and he will receive instruction. API server will say, hey, please deploy the application. So kubelet will try to deploy the application. So whenever kubelet, how kubelet will deploy the application? Kubelet will be check which engine, which Docker engine is installed my server. So in my case, I have installed Docker. So kubelet will inform to Docker. So Docker will create your application. That is called a container. In the Kubernetes, you can say this is nothing but pod. The technical word you can call pods, but don't worry, I will explain you what is pod, but you just try to understand this is your application code. So got the point, guys?
Yeah, Saurabh,
Santosh, sorry, go ahead.
yes, you can go ahead.
Yes, guys, please
Santosh,
ask question.
I have one doubt. So, so when the master is planning to schedule, let's say 2 replicas of a pod on 2 worker node, So is it the API server which is going to talk to the worker node, or is it the scheduler?
No. So good question. I told you API server get instruction from each component. Okay. When scheduler will say, suppose customer will say, hey, I want to deploy 2 replica, right? Those first instruction received by API server, first API server will update those details etcd, and etcd will say controller make sure 2 replicas should be available, right? Then meantime, scheduler will find out 2 replica on 2 different node. So he will say, yes, I have the 2 node, please go ahead and deploy. So API server will interact with the worker node with help of the kubelet. So scheduler just inform to API server. API server will be interact with worker node with kubelet service, and the kubelet will be talk to Docker to deploy your application.
Scheduler job is to identify which worker node is efficient
Available
enough to schedule the.
memory efficiently, the capacity is available, right? So those he will update to API server. API server will be talk to multiple worker node to deploy the application. So how API server, how a master is talking to worker node with help of the kubelet. So each node kubelet service is running, guys. Each node kubelet service running. So what is the kubelet? The kubelet is a daemon, or you can say kubelet is service which will be get instruction from API server, and kubelet will inform to Docker to deploy the application. Now you can see here, you can might be asked question, what is kubeproxy then? What is the job of kubeproxy, right? So kubeproxy is a daemon. Whenever you create a container or whenever you create application, whatever IP you are getting, right, those IP details, application endpoint, how this application will talk to multiple nodes, those information will be updated in kubeproxy. Got the point? So kubeproxy has the IP address, all the details will be there. So how kubeproxy will be writing the roles? Kubeproxy will store all the application endpoint, port number, everything he will store in the IP tables. So he will create an IP tables roles in each worker node and store all the information. So this is nothing but, guys, how the application is going to deploy in Kubernetes cluster.
Yeah, Saurabh, I have one question actually regarding the runtime. Is it possible we can use multiple runtime in the same Kubernetes cluster? Let's say one worker node is based on the Docker, and the others are actually I'm using like CRIO or Portman. I can use it actually
No.
like that.
No, either you need to decide very starting when you deploy a Kubernetes cluster, you need to decide which the containerized engine you want to install. Initially, suppose if you want to Docker, then you initially Docker only. So Docker will be should be there all the nodes. You cannot install multiple different engine in each different node.
Okay. The second thing actually, let's say I have some. Do you have a concept of distribute the worker node? For example, I can run a worker node which is maybe geographically different location. Let's say 100 kilometer. Is it possible like that?
See that I cannot show you in the practical. Yes, but that
Yeah,
will be
but
there.
there are some use cases like IoT use
Yes.
cases or MT use cases.
Yeah.
We need to be
So
run like that because it's like
as an industry, they will go for the multiple data center each node. So there will be like a DR node and the production node will be there, right? So whenever you design a Kubernetes cluster, you will not bring all the node from one data center, right? So if you bring everything in one data center, how come if one data center want to do upgrade and patching and maintenance, right, entire things will be goes down. So whenever you deploy a Kubernetes cluster, you highly design as a each team has a architecture designer guys will be there, right? So we will discuss our cluster, and we need to bring our each node should be each different data center. See, in our project, we have 2 data center. One is production data center, DR data center will be there. So even if then automated sync to each other, right? So if one data center goes down completely down, my application will not down, right? So I can bring up my application from DR node. So this will be there. Every company has this kind of fundamental will be there.
Okay. So one more thing regarding this API server, which type of message queuing we are using? We still will going to depend RabbitMQ or any type of other technology.
Don't worry, that I will explain you when we go high level, or else people will
Okay.
confuse
Yeah,
right
it's fine.
now. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This is just I'm talking about very basic thing. Slowly,
Yeah.
slowly you will understand each and every component uses, and you can might be asked question which database they are using, how etcd is writing. You don't worry about in very first day class. That I will going to explain you in advanced Kubernetes class. Okay. Even I will show you how to install manually etcd, how data is writing manually. You can also write into data in etcd. You can verify yourself as well. Okay, don't worry. Okay, anything else, guys? Everybody is clear? So if anybody asks a question in the Kubernetes, see guys, once you learn Kubernetes, now you can manage OpenShift platform as well. OpenShift Kubernetes will be same. Okay, and if you are in OpenShift engineer, you can manage a Kubernetes platform as well, because the components are everything will be same. If I talking about OpenShift has also same thing, but OpenShift they call something different. They will say kubelet will be different name, but backend will be they are using kubelet only, right? So don't worry. So try to understand the basic things so that you can clear. So now
Santosh,
if
my
Yeah,
question.
you're right.
I summarize, yeah, please go ahead. Anyone asking question?
So you said that in a Kubernetes cluster, if I'm having one node from one data center and another node from another data center, so how the networking is going to take place? Like how a pod in one node is going to communicate, because they will have
That see,
different subnet, right? If they are from
see
different data centers.
that is from taking care of a network engineer. You don't need to worry about that one. Okay, whenever they will give the node from two data center, so they should have a network policy. They should enable so that I can talk to both the network. You don't worry about those things, networking part. Okay.
It's just a design has a cluster, right? If we are trying to configure
Yeah.
So
cluster, it would be two data centers. Yeah.
yeah, always should be two data center, and you define whether you are stretch cluster or shared cluster, right? Those things will be there. That's fine. So even anything else, even if you go to any company, cluster design will be, they will go for two data center only. They will not go for all the cluster VM will be one data center, right? So I cannot go for one data center. So if I go one data set design, some case if one data center will down, then a lot of customer will ask you, raise a question, how come you design a cluster without having proper discussion and architecture is not good? How come if one data set goes down, everything my cluster will down? So I cannot make sure my customer application will be made available, highly available for 99.9. That is
But
what you have
there is a
multi
chance
data
of
center.
network latency as well, right? If you have nodes of different data center, so the communication, there would be latency issues, right? Let's say application is trying to connect to a database which is in a different data center. There should be a lag,
No,
right?
that will don't worry. That will be handled by network engineer. You don't need to do that one. Your job will be you should ask. You give me the VM should be 50% VM I should bring from one data center, which is called production data center, and 50% the node I will get it from. I can say the DR. I'll say give me from the DR. So talking to each node, all thing that you don't worry, that
I
will be
have one
taken
doubt.
care by network engineer or
Okay.
storage engineer.
Okay. Shall I ask a network engineer question? I am a network engineer actually. So
You
the
can you give answer to him if you are in good
yeah, yeah.
network engineer? Yeah, please.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on actually that's back to the old question. It depends on, for example, let's like in the OpenStack we are using RabbitMQ, right? The RabbitMQ, the MySQL database, the latency requirement is there. That is actually less than 100 millisecond. So, but here that's my question. So, what is actually the master node to worker node? What is the latency requirement? At least the minimum latency requirement.
Yes.
Not aware of it. I just when he said about the node from data center, I just thought like whether it would be a right approach, because if I'm instantiating a new pod in future, and if it has to communicate with a pod in another node which listens on a different port, so I believe if the subnets are different for each request, we need to open firewalls or something of that sort
Yes,
would come
obviously
up.
that you should do, because whenever you deploy, it's not kind of see here everything, all ports are open, right? So whenever you onboarding one customer application, what is your job? You have to give all worker node IP address, so they will open all the port number of the network. They will open, they will raise one request to network engineer, open all the port number of all the nodes, so they will talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for your help, guys,
Yeah.
for
So
clarifying your doubt.
Yeah, one quick question to the on the network end is how much is the basic like minimum limit of interface, how much gig we need to use for this kind of containers? Like do we have any kind of an interface, like, or do we need to use anything? It's minimum requirement interface.
No interface, there is no minimum requirement. They see if is it non-prod, they will tell you you go for this interface. But if it's a production, so because see, um, we have the set of, if it's a production only, I will bring the node from different data center. But if I go for learning environment or dev environment or semi DR environment, something, right? Then I will bring everything for one data center only, right? Even my dev is completely down, I don't care, because this is the test environment. But if it's a production only, you should bring a different data center. The node should comes from different data center.
I have
Okay.
one doubt.
Mm-hmm.
If a worker node is deleted by default, someone
Who will
deleted.
going to delete? Who will going to delete? Then you should kick out from your office.
Okay. API will redeploy the worker node, right?
No, I'll tell you that one. For example, by mistakenly somebody deleted, so you should not do that one, or none of guys can delete the node. So if you delete the node, then whatever application running on that particular node, all things will be gone cache. But if you have a multiple replica, your job is safe, and your job will be secure. You got the point? So if suppose you have the two node, you delete one node from the entire cluster, then your cluster has a one node, right? Then the controller will not bringing existing application. So what he will do, he will try to bring same application on same exist one single node only. Then might be that node, if you do not have a capacity, then automatically that node also, it will be bring down that node automatically. That node will get a hang as well. Okay.
Okay.
And if any nodes, if you remove, there is some process. Why do you need remove from the node? Then might be if you want to upgrade that node, or if that node is a completely damaged, right? There is some process you need to follow. You have to move all the node from existing new node, then empty that node, then remove that node from the cluster. But if you suddenly remove everything, then API will not handle anything, right? He will try to bring your application some other node. If that node does not have a free space, then it will go hang.
Okay, understood.
Okay, good. Fine. So guys, if I ask you a question, so in if somebody asks you a question, hey, in master,
Yeah,
how
one
many
one
service? Okay, you ask question, I'm making a note over here. Yeah, please.
sorry, one quick question is, what is it necessary to have the same capacity of all the worker nodes, or it
No,
can
no,
be
it's not
different
required.
capacity,
It
like
can
one
be
will be.
different. Capacity wise will be completely different, right? Doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Capacity with different, not required, guys. So
Saurabh, the infrastructure management or infrastructure automation is not the Kubernetes job, right? This is going to be handled through. So, like for example, back to the last question, if something has
Okay.
happened to one of the node itself, so that Kubernetes cannot do anything.
Could
Right?
not do anything. No, yeah, cannot do anything.
Because it's an infrastructure layer actually. It's not his job. Yeah.
See, if anything, suppose I design everything, my entire data center goes down, all VM is shut down, then Kubernetes, what is the job? Kubernetes cannot do anything. He is not a like a god. He bring up everything, right? So he will check if one node goes down, he can manage your cluster. But if everything goes down, entire infrastructure goes down, Kubernetes will be, he will say no use, but he will be also down. So that is the case, guys. In one of our production, like there is one perimeter production cluster, which we have even master also sitting with two different data center. Even one data center goes down, still I can able to access my application. So that is only the reason we have configure two different data centers. So any company, two data center may not be down at a time. Okay. So fine, guys. Any question?
Saurabh, one more question. If you are saying, okay, we have to distribute the workload between the data center, regarding the global site load balancing, for example, this is going to handle by Kubernetes itself, or we need to be depend some of the GSLB for the whether for an outside customer actually where you have to point it out for the data center 1 or data center 2. This is the job of the Kubernetes itself, or we have to depend on the external global site load balancer.
No, that is a global side load balancer. So what they will do, they will just redirect the traffic to like different data center. They'll say any request will come to my application. He will divide it. That job will be divided with both the data center.
Okay.
But that load balancer, that the traffic from the load balancer will reach to the master, right? It will not reach to the worker nodes.
Yeah, always it will go to master only.
Okay, then master will decide where to deploy it.
Exactly, because API server will decide. No, API server will inform. That is what I told you. No, API server will interact each and every component.
Okay.
Okay,
so if we have multiple masters, then probably that load balancer will try to balance it between multiple masters.
Yes.
Okay.
But Saurabh, regarding the data plane for the actual application traffic, it's never go through the Kube, for example, Kube API or the master node, right? It's directly, it is actually so that's a management and control plane, right? For I'm talking about, let's say, web traffic or a database traffic.
Yes. That, see, whenever hitting the application, this is what Kubernetes, when you access the customer application, that will come to the router. That is in Kubernetes router will be there. Who will accessing that application accessing will be different, guys. That I will tell you later. Don't worry now. So this is just your deployment file, but when you accessing the application, how it's working, and somebody asked question, how come three master will work? If I have a three master, how it will work, right? So those things we will talk about later. So now, if anyone asks you question, guys, in master, how many services are responsible for master? The first important service called API server. Next will be etcd. The third one will be controller, and scheduler will be there. And also these two will be there. This kubelet proxy will be running for every node. Okay. So if I talking about worker node also main service will be kubelet and proxy, and Docker will be also running. So these are the services running in a Kubernetes cluster. So if anyone asks a question, can you explain me how many services are running in somebody asking HCL Helm. So Helm is not there in the part of MAT, but I can share you the documentation. You can go to that one. That is a different concept will be there. Okay, guys. Hopefully everybody clear what exactly this document, like master architecture. Hopefully all are clear architecture will be there. So I will share you this documentation for you after the class. So same thing, guys. Kubernetes now, if anyone asks you a question, what is the responsible for Kubernetes master? So master is responsible for managing the complete cluster. Master will be responsible for deploy the application in work or not. The master is responsible for accessing your cluster using CLI mode and graphical mode, and which is responsible for container orchestration container, right? And who can able to help you to deploy the application in work or not. All things are, guys, giving by your master. And the master, there are 4 important components are available, which is key role of your cluster, which is called etcd, scheduler, controller, and API server. So if you wanted to go to the what is the etcd will be there. So don't worry what etcd, how it is writing, what is the configuration file, what is the database file. Those things we will discuss you later. But if anybody asks a
Sort of one
question.
question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the question. So you're saying like that API also is one of the options. Well, how is that handled? So CLI and GUI I understood, but how it's accessed with API and what's the concept there?
No, API is you can say everything you're talking to each and every service through API. Okay, API call will be there. So he will directly interact with your each and every component. So whenever you connect to master, your request will receive by API server. Okay, which is the service is running each and every server node, each and every master. This see guys, these are the service running under master only, not worker node. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and same thing, guys.
So can you explain the kube proxy in the master node? What is the job of kube proxy?
Okay, see, there is a kube proxy. Master has also some of the pod will running under the master, right? Master has also etcd pod, controller pod, scheduler pod, API server pod will be there. Application pod. Service is nothing but in Kubernetes you can say pod will be there. Got the point? So and also master has also.
Saurabh, that's not all the case, right? I think we can do it in both way, right? We can install it as a container, as a pod. Also, we can install it as a normal services, right?
No, you cannot do now. In the Kubernetes 1. The latest version onwards, everything will be pod. Okay, everything will be pod. So that is what you kubelet, kube proxy, and kubelet also running in the master, because see, basically master is a node for managing, but you have also option to deploy the application in master node as well. But that is not a good idea to do that, right? But if you are learning environment, I don't care learning environment, even if it's down, I don't have a budget to add a multiple node. So I will say, okay, you deploy the application master node as well. That is what in master node as well also kubelet and kube proxy services are running.
Master node, let's suppose we have the couple of master node, right? The which daemon will take care like, this traffic, it will go to only one master node, it will go to the second master node. It will be taken care by the kube proxy or different
That
daemon.
is taken care by your HF proxy. When you configure multiple master, you should have a proxy will be configured by default. In master, HF proxy will be enabled. So, and that is responsible for any traffic will comes to the masters, and there will one VIP will be assigned, virtual IP, because if you have a 3 IP cannot will be talking to each other. They will talk to each other only the VIP. So any hit will come to the VIP. VIP will distribute the traffic to each master.
Yeah, so one question, like if master gets corrupted or master crashed, and where do we store the master files exactly on?
Yes, that the if any master will be corrupt and whatsoever, that is the etcd will be restore your master. So etcd has a cluster state information will be there. So in case if master corrupted or someone will be did some mistake, doesn't matter, don't worry, you have option to restore your clusters. That will etcd will help you in that particular time, and the etcd also will inform you which one is active right now, which master is active, which master is inactive, like. So that there you can see which one is a member, right? Those details will be available under etcd database. Okay. And you have to inform to etcd. Can you ask to hey, etcd, can you tell me how many master is available in my node, right? So those details are available under etcd. Etcd will give you all the details to you, all things. Okay. So this is the scheduler, guys. Then next will be our API server controller manager, and also I told you Kubernetes master kubectl. And once your cluster is ready to interact with each and every component or to deploy your application, to do whatever you wanted to do, you need a command line utility that is a kubectl. So what is the kubectl, guys? Kubectl is the command line utility using which you can interact with Kubernetes cluster. And using Kubernetes kubectl command, you can deploy the application, managing the application on your Kubernetes platform. That is nothing but kubectl, the CLI platform, is a command line utilities. Got the point? So same thing, like for example, you want to deploy Nginx application in Kubernetes. You're running a command Docker run, right? You just run kubectl run Nginx. So Nginx pod will create. Got the point? Now you will inform, okay, in my cluster, how many nodes are there? Run a kubectl get node command. You will see that these many nodes are available. Got the point, guys? These are the to interact with Kubernetes cluster, you need a command line utility that is nothing but kubectl. That is nothing but your kubectl. So this is nothing but all about your Kubernetes. What is the kubelet will do? And next will be in the worker node. What is a kubelet? Already I have explained you. Kubelet, you can say one agent, like a captain of the each node. So kubelet is responsible for interact with master node and give the health information of the worker node. So always kubelet will inform to API server. Kubelet will inform to API server, will check, hey, now I am healthy and my all ports are up and running, right? All the information will interact with each and everything through API server. And I already explained you guys kubeproxy. The kubeproxy is responsible for ensuring the network traffic, which is routed properly internal to external service required based on the define the network policy. So kube control manager and other component controller over here. So I told you kubeproxy is responsible for what? To interact with each and every container to how do you communicate to one container to one container, and how to get the load balancer IP. Those things will be, you will get it from the kubeproxy. So now right now, if anyone asks you a question, what is the each component uses, and you should remember, if you are attending Kubernetes interview, this is the default question will ask. They will ask you a question, can you explain me the Kubernetes architecture? In architecture, how many nodes are there? Why master is required? What is the job of worker node? In master, how many services are running? Each service is using what? All things will ask a question. Got the point? So if I show you another diagram, so since you guys are understand the more about the deployment all thing, later you just moving that. Next we will move to Kubernetes installation part. We will go through the Kubernetes installation. Various type of installation will be there. We will go through the one by one. We'll go for Kubernetes installation. Right. Before that, there is one more diagram.
One
I
question,
just
sir.
Wanted to show you. Yeah, please.
So one question. So now you're saying in the exam, right, they'll ask question on installation, right? So is it the installation of only the minikube, or in general, like it could
No,
be
not
any?
minikube. They will ask you kubevm installation. They will give you 3 worker node. They will ask you, like yesterday I give you 3 worker node, you configure one Docker swarm and 2 worker node joined, right? You did join. Same thing. They will give you 3 worker node. They will ask you to configure design and deploy a Kubernetes cluster. They will say there is a POC, and the customer is asking to give a one POC cluster, which will have the one master and 2 worker node. You have to deploy.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So we will start, guys. At least we will try to finish today. At least minikube installation we will try to finish today. It's already 740. That is fine. Before that installation, I just wanted to show you one more thing, which you guys will clear understand picture about how it's happening. So look it over here. Behind this scene, whenever you deploy, let me say this one, okay? Let me we spend another 5 minutes to understand this diagram. Now Kubernetes cluster has already setup is done, or yesterday you have installed Docker Swarm cluster. In Docker Swarm, you have designed, you have created multiple replica deployment, everything you did. And one question, one guys also asked question: if I do 2 replica, how come my application will go? And who will do that? Scheduler is going to do, API server is going to. That is, for example. First of all, somebody hit one command that is called kubectl run nginx. So run is nothing but to deploy one application. The application
Saurabh,
name is
I wanted to disturb you. I think run command in version 1.18, they already removed. We should not use the run command.
I'll don't worry. So this is just one diagram. So you will use a kubectl create command. Okay, don't worry.
Okay.
So you forget about thing. You deploy one nginx application, and you have mentioned 3 replica. You have mentioned 3 replica. So as I told you guys, whoever want to do anything, if you want to deploy, first who receive your cluster, this request will go to your first will receive by API server. I told you API server. Yes or no? What API server will say? API server will come to know XYZ customer or XYZ guys want to deploy Nginx application, which is called free replica. So I told you guys, API first he will inform to etcd only. So first, if you go to next slide, she will say API server updated the deployment details in etcd. So he'll say, okay, you want to deploy 3 replica. You want to configure one deployment, one application. So those information updated by etcd database. Who is the next guys? Next will come to controller. So API server will inform, make sure 3 replica means always any point of view, always 3 applications should be available. Controller job is what? He will monitoring your application. If one pod goes down, he will bring up automatically. So he next will go to guys. If you go to next, right, controller manager through API server identified its workload and create a replica. So what he will do? He will create a 3 replica. 3 replica he will create, and he will create a 3 replica. Those details also updated in etcd. So he will say, okay, I will make sure my job is always 3 will be there. What next? Whenever, because controller is not going to deploy, the next will come to guys. Who will come next guy? Next will come scheduler. So what scheduler will do? So when controller will create 3 replica, then your pod will go to pending only, because who will identify it, which node is free? Then scheduler. Until you inform scheduler, your pod will not create. That is what your pod is showing pending state. So what will identify? The next will call scheduler. What scheduler will do, guys? Scheduler will identify workload to API server, and he will decide which node, the node will going to on which ports are with scheduler. So what exactly he will do? The scheduler will identify the load of the traffic, load of application. He will say, okay, this port can go to node 1, this port can go to node 2. So, and scheduler will make sure your application will have each application should go to each node. So when you say 3 replica, it will go to 3 different nodes. But if you have a 2 min, first go to 0, the slab 01 will go to first, and slab 2 will go to 02, and slab 01 will go to again here. Like this will go. That is what guys it will go. So next, when scheduler will identify it, so the next scheduler will inform to API server. So what exactly next will do, guys? So API server will talk to worker node with help of the kubelet. So that is what here you can see. The kubelet will identify the workload through API server. He will understand that you need to deploy some ports on its node. Then when API server will inform to the agent, the captain to one of the worker node, he will inform, hey, please deploy the application. So kubelet will get instruction from API server. So what kubelet cannot deploy. So kubelet will find out in my node who is the Docker, who is engine, which container engine is installed. Then kubelet will identify, he will try to create some of the pod, but the pod try to creating, but before you creating, he will say, we'll talk to Docker and create a pod. After you creating pod, those details of the kubelet will update to API server. Your application is deployed. Again, you can say it is a next after running stage. Next, you will see kubelet will inform to API server. Yes, I have deployed the application. Please update under etcd. So the etcd you can, once pods are created, kubelet will update the pod status through running stage through etcd. What the point, guys? This is the behind in the backend. So backend is happening over here. What the point?
So, Saurabh,
Anything.
you didn't discuss about the pod concept actually.
So don't worry about, because the pod will come. I didn't discuss, even I didn't discuss more in deployment as well. Okay. So
Yeah.
now you think pod is nothing but application container. What the point?
Okay.
You just think pod is a container. Whenever you deploy the container, but in Kubernetes, in Docker, you can say container. In the Kubernetes, that is nothing pod, but we will discuss you pod whatever the theory, but don't worry.
Saurav,
So
I
is it
have
clear,
one
guys?
doubt here.
Yes.
So when you explained about the controller section, so it shows in the left hand corner that the pod is in pending state. Okay. So when you say that the pod is in pending state, I believe that the image has been downloaded, right? And
No.
and the node.
Pod is a pending stage, man. Forget about imaging all thing. He will try to deploy everything, but until he got the workload, your pod will stay pending state. Once.
So yeah, 1 second. Let me complete. So when this pod is in pending state means we have already identified the node where the pod is going to be deployed, right?
No, pending state means he didn't identify where which node he will get. Still pending means you did not get the node details. You didn't get a resource till now.
No, but you say pod is in pending. So let's say I am running a command at that state like kubectl get pods. So that means in that state it would not show as running, it would show as pending. That is what your pending says, right?
Yes.
So
When you say pod is a pending state, that means still pod is not assigned to any node. After assigning the node, then only pod will show creating stage. It will running stage.
then where it is stored, that how come without a node, how come a pod can go to a pending state? I mean,
See,
if
that
it
is
is not
first initially when you deploy, right? When you deploy the first application, first he will try say, please deploy. But if you do not have any node, then it will say pending. If there is no node in the cluster, everything you have down, you deploy it, but the pod will stay pending. So
Okay,
it will not creating only, because create next will come to pending will come to once he identified, then he will create stage. Then create stage, then will come to running stage.
Okay, I got it. So in controller state, we don't have the node information. Scheduler gives the node information. Then
Exactly.
okay.
That is what. So controller will say, I will create it, but he will say, okay, let me create. So whenever he will create, he will say pending. So then he will, etcd will say, hey, it's pending. Then API will call to scheduler. Scheduler will say pending, right? Let me give the node. Then only your pod status will be running.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Got it.
So one more thing. Let's suppose. Sorry, okay, yeah, carry on.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. Go ahead.
Okay, Saurabh, I have one question. Let's suppose if any ports, right, get down, yeah, corrupted, any region, is the worker or node responsibility to inform to API servers, or it should be handled by the controller itself?
Come again, I didn't, it is breaking.
I'm talking about, let's suppose in the worker node, right, couple of node is running, right? One
Okay.
node got corrupted, any region.
One
Who
node
will
is
take
got
care?
corrupted.
Yeah,
Okay,
any corrupted or die. There is a worker node responsibility to inform to API server, or it should be managed by
Yes.
the controller
So
itself.
that is what every there is some running. So if I little go depth, every 2 minutes, a kubelet will be informed to API server. What is the status of this work or not? He will inform the health check or health report. That is what API server will get
Heartbeat check.
heartbeat check for your application, your work or not. With kubelet will inform to API server that hey, I am healthy. So whenever kubelet will say, whenever API server identified this node is not healthy, then scheduler API server will not send any traffic to on that node. He will send to all the traffic to next available node.
So this one is a by default value every 2 minutes, or is there any specific value we can set?
That is the default
What
things. That is default will taking care through API.
default is 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what happens if default is 2 minutes, right? What happens to if the worker node is not able to respond in the time of 2 minutes?
It's not
What
2 minutes.
will
I'm
API?
not sure the timing. Okay. There
Okay.
is some. I'll just. I have read one documentation. There is some time interval will be there, which he will check in everything. He will check and give a report.
No, but that is fine. Whatever the time it is, if a worker node is not able to respond due to some network connectivity, what will
Uh,
happen to it?
I
See.
mean, I think Saurabh, there is some configurations where you can modify this particular time limit. I'm not sure about this Kubernetes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. You
in
can.
general cluster
You.
we have time limit where it
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
on, it will define the time, how many times it will keep on try to reach that particular node. If
Exactly.
it fails
Exactly.
within that time, it
So
will fail over.
see how. Let me give a little more details over here. Whenever you feel that one node trying to some reason the node is not functioning anything, see that is what the kubelet will be always he will API server will always will talking to kubelet automatically. He try to bring up those node automatically, so he will always try to restart the kubelet service, something he will do automatically. But
So
some reason if node is not functioning anything, then what will happens, controller will try to, because whatever pod is running under that node 1, he will try to automatically he will drain those pod to next available node, because if nothing is not working, that existing pod will be container creating stage, it will go and it will go to error stage or existed state, uh, it will go. So that pod will go to moving to next available node. That is the beauty of Kubernetes. Everything will handle.
So what you mean to say is that assuming that let's take 2 minutes has a heartbeat check. Okay. So if at all if you're taking 2 minutes as heartbeat check, within 2 minutes it will try to connect to the worker node and it will try some signal or it will try some packet to the worker node, and worker node is busy in handling containers and it did not give acknowledgement whatever it is coming from API server, and API server is waiting for that acknowledgement. Till then, API server will ask that worker node to stop all the pods.
Yes. So if the worker node is not function anything, then whatever application is running on that node, the pod will go to error stage, right? And it will go to the different stage. But in that time, there is a control node is running. So what he will do, he will restart the pod. Whenever he restart, right, if the node is not function, right, the pod will go to some other node.
Okay, so what like irrespective of it is getting a reply or if there is any delay in reply by worker node, API server will automatically remove all the pods from that particular worker node and it will scale to another pod.
Yes, it will go, the pod will go to next. So always, that is what, when you say replica equal to 3, always controller will say, you should be 3 any point of time. Suppose if one node goes down, what he will do, even if he has one pod, one node, right, he will deploy all 3 will go to one node only, because he doesn't have next available node. So if you have multiple node, then the traffic will distribute with multiple nodes.
Yeah, but will there be any kind of an buffer time after that heartbeat check time? Will there be any
No, no,
buffer
that
time, or will it wait for some time to
not
get the
wait.
confirmation from
Always he will. Yeah, always controller will job is nothing but he will always check the status of your application. If it's down, he will bring up to next things. Some few second only every things he will go and check, and you will not feel. That is what in the Kubernetes platform, customer will not feel any kind of downtime because of this. Kubernetes will provide you this kind of facility. Nobody will give you, even if you go to high level of the VM, multiple VM. That is what, as per company, like each application they will go for 1000 VM will be one application, but here will be replaced. If you just purchase 5 VM, your job is done, right? So that is the beauty of the Kubernetes. Auto recover. He will auto recover your application. So hopefully guys, the diagram and the Kubernetes architecture and the component, the concept behind of API server and etcd scheduler, what is the job of the kubelet, and all things you guys have cleared. So next we will move to our installation part. So before going to
Saurabh,
installation, let's say 5 minutes break.
Saurabh, I
Yes.
believe it's my personal opinion. I don't know about others. Maybe if you allow us a daytime tomorrow, if we can start installation, it would be good because we need to understand completely the architecture part. I mean, who are working, that's fine, they can understand, but we need to read and we need to understand, and then if some question, then we need to clarify that before moving into installation part.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. That's what I understand. I
Okay.
mean, if anyone agrees to that.
So installation, I think it's Minikube is very easy. Okay, just all in one installation only. That's fine. So
And
what is your guys' opinion, guys? So can we go
already,
tomorrow?
I sort of already we install on that Docker for Docker. So
Docker-Swarm. Yeah,
Docker
yeah,
Swarm
same thing.
and work node one, work node same VM. Can we use or will create again for Kubernetes separate
Now
VMs?
for Kubernetes setup, we need to create a fresh VM. Okay,
Okay.
do one thing, guys. So tomorrow we will not tomorrow. So if you guys can give me 15 to 20 minutes, at least we can install Minikube installation. But hope that's fine. That up to you. If you want tomorrow, then we can go tomorrow. What is your
No,
plan, guys?
for
Other guys?
Minikube, then for Minikube, then for Minikube, since it doesn't take much time, then it is better to go today. But what about the environment? How many servers? How many servers do we need?
No. Minikube is a all-in-one installation. Okay, that you don't need
Oh,
to do
okay, you
anything.
need only one VM.
Even not record one VM. Automatically he bring up one VM and he will do that. Like a vagrant. How vagrant will be automatically created VM. Same thing Minikube. Okay, that's fine,
Okay,
guys.
and how about
If okay,
sorry,
that
how
QVarium we
about
need a 3
the
VM.
cube?
QVarium required 3 VM.
So that would be a fresh installation, or can we do it in Docker Swarm
No.
VM instead?
It's fresh installation. It's fresh installation. The process we need to follow. So I'm requesting all of you. Tomorrow, what time we can sit, guys? Tomorrow, what time we have a class we can take? Just give me your
It is
timing
better
so that
morning, big morning as
morning what time?
9 something like that.
Morning 9 o'clock.
A few folks from Dubai also, right?
Mhm.
So we need to consider their timings as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some guys are
Fine.
yeah.
from
Then
Yeah,
Evening
we
is
are
some
fine.
like
from.
EST, not IST time zone, sir.
Hey, somebody will say
Because
cannot
what
possible for me tomorrow. I do. I have
okay,
change
evening is
to
fine.
implement.
Because some
Yeah,
people are from
because
outer
because
country, right?
most of the people, yeah. So few people are from India, and other people are from different countries. If I am based out of
Yes.
Australia, So there will be,
Oh, for Australia means for you a little late, no?
So evening
Is
is
it
yeah,
5
so
p.m.
as of now it is, yeah.
12 o'clock, no?
I think same
Sort
time,
of
same
maybe
schedule will be
we
much
can do
better.
it in the morning time. For me, I'm also in Singapore. It will be very hard late night.
Okay, do one thing, guys. Do one thing.
Morning time we are okay. I think it should be the okay morning time.
Is it
Stick with this
evening?
schedule. It's much better.
Because time is fixed for evening time, 6 to 8. So this training is not morning time. Then you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
choose evening, or you can drop and you can continue again that next Monday
Okay.
evening time.
So,
So we
okay.
cannot
So,
start in morning.
exactly. So, guys, I'm requesting to all of you, if you are busy with morning time, that is fine. I am okay with any time because I have off tomorrow. Because if I cannot forcefully take morning, so because the timing will be evening time only, but I'm requesting guys, if you are okay with the 5 o'clock evening, 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. tomorrow, okay, or else we will continue on Monday only. So just decide and
Yeah,
inform me in
5
WhatsApp group.
p.m.
5 p.m. IST. If all are okay, I can take, or else we will sit on Monday only.
Yeah, I have no issues with 5 p.m. IST.
What about other guys? 5 p.m. Samir and Manoj
I don't think for
are
Indian people
or
5 p.m. is would be a
9 to
challenge.
5 p.m. for you.
I'm okay with it.
Sir, okay in 5 p.m.
So, Saurabh, I have one question. Do you have any target to complete next month? Any target?
So in that case, if you guys can give me Saturday and Sunday, then we
Okay.
will finish it. We will finish a little very less time. So can you have
Because
Saturday and Sunday class as well? If all are
because
agree.
I have
We can
scheduled
start
the
next
exam in next month on 17th. That's why I'm
Next month.
thinking whether we should be able to complete or not.
We can
Okay,
start
okay.
next
Next
Saturday
month.
Sunday also.
Let's we have
But
Saturday.
I think
All are in
yeah,
work from home only, right? So let's every day 2 hour session. So if you are agree, let's
Yes,
this
yes,
Saturday
everybody
Sunday also you can take class. But I'm not forcing guys. I don't want to kill your weekend time.
Tomorrow 5 p.m. is fine, sort of.
And
I mean, Saturday we can spend. Sunday, maybe somebody have their own personal things to do.
Yeah.
So at least Saturday we can spend 5 p.m. can start on every
Even
Saturday.
Australia guys, they don't want to spend Saturday and Sunday work. They want complete Saturday Sunday will be off only always.
absolutely, we do work other days,
Yeah.
and we have time differences. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay,
We've been
so
getting. Yep. Go ahead, Siraj.
if all are okay, we will start tomorrow. I'm not forcing. Okay. If all are okay, so we will start with 5 p.m. IST tomorrow, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. 2 hour class.
but initially it's already decided on week Saturday we are going to practice in a examination point of view, right? If you're not
Yes.
going to do, then I don't think it will be very hard for us to complete the course on time.
Yes, so the initially because today only we started Kubernetes, so that we are not like we can't discuss anything on Saturday, right? Because next Saturday onwards we can discuss on exam
Yeah.
orientation.
This Saturday
Because
we are okay, but we should not miss
yeah.
every weekend.
That is what this Saturday we are not positioned to discuss exam question. That is what we don't want to cancel also Saturday class. We will discuss some other things on this Saturday.
Mr. Shorub, I think if we can catch up, we cover a lot of material. So tomorrow we can, recoup all those things, and we can create clusters. And then we can come back Monday ready because you are in different time zone.
Exactly. Yeah, that is what my target. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And
let's.
we agree it with you because you have give enough knowledge and information, and we've been putting in our head as well as working. So we need a one day to set back. You guys watch a cricket. Why do they take a time off? So that they can get ready for how to bat better. So we need to get more questions and more understanding. That's
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
What we
let's.
can
that is the reason I requested this point to stop here, so that we would have a better understanding on the architectural diagram. Then probably we can proceed further. Once we have a clear
Good.
understanding, then it is easy to catch a later part of the
Good
course.
guys. Good.
good. Tea time then. Tea time.
Can we have one thing? Is we'll practice tomorrow. We'll practice whatever happened in the whole week, as you people said, and we'll have a 1 hour class so that after practicing we would be coming up few doubts or few questions which need to be answered. So we'll have that 1 hour sessions to answer those questions. Is that okay to work?
Yeah. See, anything else. I'm ready to give you answer anytime. Whenever you're asking question, I'm trying my best to give your answer. So that we can also include Saturday. So why not Saturday? We can sit 3 hour class. So 2 hour exam preparation, 1 hour doubt class. That can be also could be good, right?
But Saturday, the timing that you're proposing, the early 5, it's so dark where I am. So I'm on the other
I'm
side
really
of the
sorry
world.
for
No,
that.
So,
Really sorry for that.
no. If it is not 5, then probably we can go for the same timing.
uh, to the best as you said it, why don't we just practice what we have? The set is not running. Time is essence, I know, but what we can do is get more exposure, more understanding, rather than just wondering tomorrow when the class is over and say, "Oh, I wish I asked that question because right now I'm having." Let's practice it. Let's make our hands dirty tomorrow, and then we're ready. Let's give also the self break. Like I think this is my own opinion. So I'm not obligating anybody, but I think you all also have other lives. It should not be only this, but we should give tomorrow, take a break. Sunday and Monday is
I agree to Faisal with this point.
Yeah, guys. Anything could be fine for me because I'm bachelor, so I'm okay with anything. You decide and just let me know so that I will ready.
so. Did you want me to find you a girlfriend, sir?
No. So you just decide. Let me know. I'm okay with anything.
It will keep you busy. Don't worry.
Okay.
Well,
So um,
yeah. So coming about the lab, coming about the our lab. Okay, is what is the lab structure you want us to implement?
okay. So okay, that is good thing. So if you have a time today, you just need to be first tomorrow we will start various type of installation. So I don't think so you will get any kind of issues because we have already discussed Docker Swarm. Same way we will start with Kubernetes, but the Kubernetes, the first installation we will talk about Minikube installation. So first of all, if you do not know anything, suppose somebody will say, I want to practice Kubernetes, but you don't have any good knowledge. You don't know what is a container, how to install a Kubernetes cluster. So Minikube will be help you to bring up cluster automatically. You are not going to do anything. So he will, Minikube will be give you one software, double click the software and run one command, automatically bring up your Kubernetes cluster. That we will talk about first chapter, first one. Once you guys are familiarized with the Minikube installation, now you will ask question. No, I am okay now. Let me. Is it possible? Can I install Kubernetes in my own laptop environment? I want to install myself, not automatically. So that next we will go, guys. Manual installation, which is called multi node cluster. Multi node mean I will give you 3 worker node. You need to install a Kubernetes. Okay, that will comes in your exam, but don't worry, in your exam point of view, I will crack. I will give you the step by step the questions with answer. You will 200% you will clear your exam. But today only we started our Kubernetes class. So hopefully if you give me a little more time every day, we can spend more time. I will clear your more doubt and I can help you to finish this training as soon as possible, right? So every day 2 hour or 3 hour, if you give me time, I can do that. That is fine. So if somebody will say like I do not have a laptop where I can do practice, so then the next installation we will go, guys, online installation. Online mean in online lab in the internet there will be online will be there. I will show you that process as well. So anytime if you want to practice Kubernetes in your laptop, it will be available. If you want, you create your own setup, Minikube practice, and the QADM practice and online practice. So you can do that. And I have already said you how to create one virtual machine. So if you follow creating virtual machine in CLI mode, CLI means desktop is a server platform. Then server platform will not take much utilization as compare desktop platform. So if you select desktop, that is fair enough. But if you select desktop, you can go ahead. If you select server also, you can go ahead. Everything could be fine, right? So we will go through the each and every installation part tomorrow. So tomorrow I am not sure that I can finish all type of installation tomorrow, but I will try my best. I cannot go fast because installation is very important and you should understand each and every step. Once you guys clear understand picture of Kubernetes installation part, then slowly we will start deployment, the all the things, whatever things are available in Kubernetes, we will go through that. So today, as you requested not to discuss installation part, we will stop today's class. Tomorrow same 5 p.m. I will start the class. We will start the installation. So tomorrow you may create one blank virtual machine which network setup is already done. Okay, you just create one VM. One
You
VM is
mean you
required.
mean
One
to
VM you create. Yeah, you
you
can
mean
create
to
one
say that
VM.
even for Minikube and multi-cluster node, we also need Dockers to be installed on that node as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
But
we don't need
Docker,
to install Docker Swarm, only the Dockers is important.
yes. I will. That is what we will start with, very basic, fresh installation. So don't you have already practiced Docker. You can keep that machine shut down. You create one more new virtual, fresh virtual machine, which we will do everything manually, one by one. You have to do. Okay, we will install a Docker. We will install all the prerequisite, whatever steps are prerequisite there. We'll follow all the steps, so that Sunday will be completely off, so you guys can go home, do little R&D, do practice. You will get little doubt, little error, whatsoever doubt will be there. On Monday I will try to clear your doubts. And also I can see now Ali is helping to each and every guys, so he's also is available. And if you are guys are getting any problem, and also we are sharing the recording for installation of Kubernetes, so you can, if you have any issues, follow this video and do from yourself, so that you will get a confident.
Saurabh, are you taking any classes in morning time?
No, morning time not taking. No.
I mean, I
Alright,
was
so tomorrow,
any
like,
other batch
No, I
because
am this.
I might get some work next week late in the evening, so I was thinking like, how could I like cover those part if I miss some classes? So is this the only batch you are taking as of now?
Yeah, this is only one batch I'm taking, but there are some other trainer will be there, but I'm not sure. You just need to be reach out to and check with Nityanand sir, so that he can help you in this.
Okay, thank you.
so few of us in our team are recording these sessions. So if you miss some session or something, then probably we can share you that session with you so that you can go along with that session.
Yeah, but is it going to be for next future classes? I heard that someone saying it's only going to be for the installation part.
No,
the recording.
apart from Nityanand sir, even other guys are also recording this session, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. All right, I'll get in touch with them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is anybody else is recording this session as well? Anybody in the group? All right. Okay. So apart from that, what I do is that even I am also started recording few sessions. So I'll continue recording few sessions as well.
Yeah. Okay. So are you going to share the link where we can access those videos?
Yeah, because I need to upload all the sessions. So I'll once I'm good with that link, I'll share you that link.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And apart from that, Saurav sir, is it possible for you, what time you are planning to start a class tomorrow? Is it at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock? Can you please confirm? The whole team and Saurav?
Let's just 5 o'clock. All are agree with
Is
5
it okay for
o'clock.
the whole team?
We'll start.
Excuse me, may I know which software you're using for recording the session? Because I tried with something, actually it was very big.
Yeah. So there is a software called as ShareX. It's an open source software.
Okay.
ShareX is an open source software, and you don't need any license or you don't need to buy anything. It needs to get installed on your system, and you can start recording on it.
Cool.
It's a
Sure,
very good software.
I'll try.
It's a very good software. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll try that.
Yeah.
Hello.
ShareX. It's ShareX.
ShareX.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can install in Windows 10 itself, right?
Yeah. Any apart from Windows, you can also install in MacBook also.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is actually a very good tool. It's an open source tool, and it is really working amazing. Like, I have recorded a couple of classes, and it is really good.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So what time is class tomorrow? Or is it at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock? So any other guys?
Same, no? Which you told
Saurav,
5 o'clock. 5 is okay, right?
is it 5 or 6?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it at 5 p.m. tomorrow, just for this Saturday. Maybe weekdays let it be 6 p.m. Saturday we can cover 5 p.m.
Okay. So is it okay for everybody? Or
For me,
does
I'm not
anybody has any
available.
objection?
I don't know. I'm not available at that time tomorrow. So
How about 6 IST then?
yeah, 6
Same time.
Mountain,
Same time.
We have time
6
till
works for
tomorrow
you?
morning. We can decide this in group itself.
Yeah. So I thought, since it's a weekend, nobody looks into that group post and all the stuff. So I thought, yeah. All right.
Okay.
So
at least update in the
so
group chat.
please. Sure. Okay.
So we still on tomorrow same time?
Well, the timing would be decided in the group chat. So the session is on tomorrow, but the timing would be decided in the group chat.
Keep in mind that we are in different time zones, and we're not all local in IST. So
yeah, even me too, because right now it's 1 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it should be either 1 a.m. is quite late, and then tomorrow you're already on Saturday. So we should think.
Well,
I'm still telling you guys. I think the best thing is to take a day break, reset our clock. But the decision is the group. Majority rules. There is nothing I can do.
well, what do you say, Saurabh?
To me, I
No,
really love.
let's go for same time only. Whatever Nityanand told you, right? Even Saturday also same time. We'll go for 6 only. So,
No, he's telling that should we go forward with the class or should we take a break?
I believe that we should take a 1 day break so that we can get all our facts, try it, our hands more of what the content is being given, and then have a fresh mind on the next day, which is a Sunday, I believe, in India time, and then we do it on the same time at 6 p.m. And then we have it so many questions, and then Monday we finished it.
So what I think is, like, see, in only this Saturday it will be the session. So next Saturday onwards it will be a practice for the exam part, right? So that is a required thing for the exam. We need 1 day to clear all the doubts. So this Saturday 6 p.m. let us finish the as discussed. So next Saturday onwards there is no class, but he'll clear the exam doubts or questionnaire and all that stuff. So there won't be any session especially. We can go with the same 6 p.m. schedule, but for the exam, it's for the exam. So Sunday is 1 day free we have, right? So that is for the reboot or practice and all that. We can take it up that way.
Okay.
So my opinion. Yeah, this is my
okay, guys. I'm just
tomorrow
out
then
now. You decide and let me know tomorrow whether tomorrow we can take class or not. So I'll talk to Nitya and let me also tell you what he discussed with you on Saturday time. So I'm not sure about that. So if you guys are really interested for taking Saturday, please let me know so that I will take, or else we can off tomorrow. We can come again on Monday. Just inform me on WhatsApp chat. Okay. Thank you guys. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.